This week on Pivot with Purpose, about 15 minutes after she sends it to me, I opened it up right away and I'm like, okay, fine. I got to buy these. I'm about to buy them right away. Sold out. Inner Circle completely sold out. So now we're at the Inner Circle meeting. So I'm like, who works here? Once Sarah's off stage, I try to find whoever works there. And I'm like, I need help. Like, how do I get another ticket? Are you guys going to release more? Then I get this feeling over me. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to be here next year, but I can see myself being media. I'm going to be in media. So that's how I saw the media entrance and I walked into it and I popped in. I was like, oop, look at me walking in, manifesting me being in media. And the guy was like, yeah, all right. He looked at me like, what is wrong with that girl? Hey friend, you're listening to Pivot with Purpose. This is my show where I pivoted from shit I'm 30, where I was dreading turning 30. I had a failed marriage, failed engagement after that, and I don't have a relationship with my immediate family. But through it all, I came out the other side with a thriving business, an unexpected radio morning show of my own, and a platform where I can reach millions of people and help them walk in their truth. I am now celebrating every step of my journey into continuously finding my purpose, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes this journey looks like shit, and it probably sounds even worse, but it's still our journey, and I'm learning right along with you to enjoy it. There's always a rainbow after the rain falls. Now, if you need advice in pivoting in any aspect of your life, relationships, career, spirituality, send your questions or story to askcarlawilmaris@gmail.com or shoot me a DM at Carla Wilmaris. Now, let's start the show. Hey y'all, welcome back to another episode of Pivot with Purpose. I'm your girl, Carla, per usual. Every Wednesday, we're here, to give you a little mess. You'll end up with some type of message. Today, the message is that Hurricane Milton is coming. We're less than, I think, like 18 hours from the hurricane getting here. I am in Central Florida. I am not evacuating, not because I don't want to, just because I don't think we have to. Well, we're not in an evacuation zone. This hurricane is coming in, y'all, and I am just as prepared as can be. I made a reel on social media, if you follow me, and it was more like the anxiety of waiting for it. I'm at this point like, chop, Milton, hurry up and get here. I want to get it over and done with, get back to life. Me having ADHD, it's like, Milton, how slow are you going? And I am worried about the people on the coast. I'm worried about, people that may not have the best shelter, that may not have the resources. But as much as I want people to have time to get their things together, also hurry up. The whole point is just hurry up. Anyway, I have everything that I need. And I figured since I have nothing but time, everything's kind of like at a standstill here. And everyone that knows that I'm in Florida isn't really bothering me. The business is kind of being taken care of by my team. So we'll stop there. But since last time we chatted, we had another hurricane. And for that hurricane, Helene, I believe her name was, not Helen, Helene, I escaped. I actually, Ariel and I got on a plane the morning, very, very early morning of the hurricane getting here. And we left to Woman Evolve. And that might sound crazy. I actually did a story when I was on the plane. And that was me laughing like, we really just left food, water, chargers, and money at the house and told our kids and everybody else, we're about to go with Sarah Jakes. Like, we'll see you later. And that's literally what we did. We packed up in Florida, left at we got to the airport like at 5 a.m. We were out by 7 a.m., got to Dallas, and Helene did nothing in our area. Like, it was water. I had a branch that fell on the front, but my daughter was like, it's just dark outside and rainy. And I was so grateful for that. But I felt it in my heart. There was this feeling that I had. I'm like, we've been here long enough. We're looking at the trajectory of the hurricane. Let's get out of here. We got these tickets. Like, we got to go. So we went over to Dallas. And that's kind of what I want to talk to you about today a little bit. Because Woman Evolve was everything I thought it would be. So I did go last year by myself. So I did Woman Evolve 23 in Dallas. And that was an experience because I went with no one. I didn't know anyone when I was going there. Once I got there were a few people that I knew, but I was just spending time alone. And even though you're alone in a place with 40,000 women, as they say, that it was holding, you didn't feel alone. Everyone felt like sisters. It felt like family. It felt like love. you cried next to people, you worship next to people, you prayed for people, people prayed for you, and they're just like, we don't know what you're going through, but we know you're here, and you want that, that sisterhood and that love from someone. Now, last year, Anita Phillips was there, and that's when Dr. Anita Phillips, I'm sorry, let me put a little respect on her name, Dr. Anita Phillips, which actually I have her book here, The Garden Within, and I bought it there, and I ran over to her book signing. I was actually with Sade. I was like, we got to go. I want to meet her. I want to have her on No For Sure at the time. I want to have her on Pivot. I'm going to find a way to speak to her. So I ended up, speaking to her and speaking to her management and got all their information. This time around, she was on there again. So there are a few. Okay, let me back up because it was so great. Let me start from the beginning. Ariel came over the week prior, and I was like, "Hey, I have an extra ticket for Women Evolve. Do you want to go?" She said, "Yes." I said, "They're $300." She said, Let's go. How much are the tickets?" Boom, boom, boom. We booked everything right then and there. We left. With that being said, I couldn't have gone with anyone better. So we get to Dallas. Also, B. Simone had a suite that she had gotten for Women Evolve, and I thought it was pretty cool. You guys know that she is a client of mine, but also I would consider her, a friend. She's a person that I definitely admire. I think she's great. I think she's a good person. The relationship that her and I have is good. I know they had the split between Megan and No For Sure and B. Simone back in September of last year. And when it comes to my clients, I stay pretty neutral. I'm not in their business like that. I'm not no Diddy, take that. I really mind my business. And I've talked about it. I don't know what happened between them. I don't care to know what happened between them. That was something between the both of them. I think they're both great women. Whatever must have happened between them, and I was not involved. And it spoke greatly to me, and I'm very grateful for them as well, that Megan, continued with us and we worked with her. And then when B wanted to launch her show, she also came to me. There was a concern, making sure we keep both productions separate, that there's no bias. But at the end of the day, my team is extremely professional. We've been able to do that. So I'm very grateful that I'm able to speak to them both, that I'm able to, make money with both, that I'm able to help them both grow and do it with a team that really cares about their brand. So with that being said, we did have the suite. So we had our inner circle tickets up on the floor. So we did go upstairs to CB a couple of times, and we spent some time up there. We spent some time downstairs. We've spent time walking around, meeting people. And a few things happened during this trip that I know you can't tell me there is no God. Okay. So we get there and we're having a great time. We meet some people. I really wanted B to meet Ariel, just because Ariel, I find her to be an amazing human being. But after the first day of us being there, walking 15,000 steps, my knee was on fire. Ooh, my poor little knee. Ariel had gotten some phone calls that let us know right away it was going to be a tough time while we were there. For her personally, within her family. For me, I had a few things going on, but everything was kind of like smoothing off. We knew we were there for a reason. We just didn't know what that was, but we knew we had to be in that building. My faith doesn't waver, but I will tell you, as a Christian, there are times that I think of, when people are being prayed over and you see all these like crazy things happen. It's like, is some of it performative, or some of these people just doing this for a check, which is very possible. There are things like that do happen within every industry, Christianity being one of them, church, podcasting, medical profession, like everything. Everybody has a scam somewhere. But sometimes my mind goes there. And every time my mind might go there or might wander, God brings me right back and he's like, let me show you. Let me show you quickly. So day 2, we actually we stay in the hotel room for a couple extra hours. We do some work. She does a little bit of editing. I'm doing some work that I have to do. Then we go to eat, and we're like, okay, we'll make it to the second half of the day, because the days were long. It's like from like 10 a.m. to like 8-9 p.m. It's a very long day. And they have a 4-hour break in between, which it wasn't that long last year, but now they had a 4-hour break. So we're like, all right, we'll get there in the afternoon at the 5 o'clock. But at 3 o'clock, there was an inner circle meeting with Sarah Jakes. They added this one because everything started Wednesday. I didn't want to get there Wednesday. So I tell Ariel, look, this one also sold out. And by sold out is like the registration. Too many people RSVP because we already paid for it. It's part of our ticket. I said, it's full, but let's just go. Let's just go. Let's just walk in like we belong. And I think we should be able to do that. It's 40,000 people here. Now it's less than, I would say maybe 500 women in this smaller room with Sarah Jakes Roberts. So it's a lot more intimate than it is in a big stadium. So we get to the place. We take an Uber there from where we had lunch and walked in. Literally just walked in and sat down. We're looking at each other like, hey, sometimes you just got to go for it. You just got to go for it. And I don't want to hear no from anyone. I just go. So while we're there, right before we get there, I get a text message from Fabiana. And basically, she sends me that they opened up the tickets for the following year. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Last year they did it on the last day. Everybody was getting their ticket. That's how I got my tickets, but they sold out immediately. So I want Inner Circle and Inner Circle or nothing. I don't want no friends. I don't want to sit in the stands. I want the ticket that I've had for the past 2 years, which I like. I like the accessibility. I like all of it. That's where I want to be. So what's crazy is that she sends me this and I see it about 15 minutes after she sends it to me. I open it up right away and I'm like, okay, fine. I got to buy these. I'm about to buy them right away. Sold out. Inner Circle completely sold out. So now we're at the Inner Circle meeting. So I'm like, who works here? Once Sarah's off stage, I try to find whoever works there. And I'm like, I need help. Like, how do I get another ticket? Are you guys going to release more? Is this like some that you guys release right now and you'll release some more later? And they're like, actually, they're going to a smaller venue. We're moving it to Atlanta. Like, what's sold out is sold out. There's no more. And I'm like, what do you mean? So, I don't take just one no for an answer. I'm like, all right, well, you don't know anything. So then we get back to the front that I find the social media team and I start asking them and I'm like, help me get this. I went through like 3 or 4 people and nothing. Then we're walking and there was a lady that was seeing me ask the question. She's like, oh, it's bots or people buy extra tickets. You can get some when it gets closer to the date. You just go on the app or you go online and people will be selling their tickets. That's both years I've been Inner Circle. This is how I got in. People sell their tickets. Just, you got to be aware of that. And I'm like, all right. That made me feel a little bit better because it's true. I also sold mine last year and I sold mine to Ariel this year. So maybe someone will have an extra ticket. But that's a gamble. I don't like that gamble, especially when it's somewhere that I know that I want to go to. So as we're walking, Ariel is telling me, well, let's just buy the other ticket and then we can maybe exchange them, sell them, and something will come up. And I'm like, no, I'm not buying that. Then I get this feeling over me. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually going to be here next year, but I can see myself being media. I'm going to be in media. B's going to be on that stage. You might be on that stage. I'm going to cover this as media. And that's I left it there. And she was like, okay, but while you're working on the media and you're going to do all of that, can we get the other tickets? Let's just get the other ones. And I was like, no, I'm not thinking about that at all. I'm thinking about the fact that we're going to be here. I'm going to come as media. So you can buy a ticket for the friends side if you want. It's called Friends, like besties, Inner Circle, friends, and something else. I was like, you can buy that ticket. I'm not buying that ticket because I'm coming in as media. And we keep walking back towards the stadium. And she says it again. And I tell her this all the time because I don't know why. I felt like I was very like stern and maybe a tad bit rude. I don't know if that's how she perceived it, but I felt very strongly about this. And I just remember her saying it again. And I'm like, I don't want to hear it anymore. That's it. Don't ask me about it no more. I'm not doing it. I'm not buying anything. You can buy whatever you want. I'm coming in as media next year. And I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to do it. And that's it. There's no question about it. So we did that. And once we did that, we kept walking and she didn't say anything again. She didn't say anything. So we get back to the stadium, we go in, and now Maverick City and Chandler Moore are doing worship and praise. And we go straight downstairs. We're like hanging out. We're worshiping. We're doing all our stuff. Once we do that, we're like, oh, let's go upstairs to the suite because the suite has like food and just it's cooler up there. Downstairs is really hot. I guess all the lighting. So we go upstairs and we're just talking. This is probably maybe 30 minutes after we came from outside where I was like, this is what we're going to do. Oh, one more thing. Rewind. As we're walking to the stadium, we saw the entrance to the media room, like the media entrance. We never see that because we never coming back from another building somewhere else. It was like a 10-minute walk. So that's how I saw the media entrance and I walked into it and I popped in. I was like, oop, look at me walking in, manifesting me being in media. And the guy was like, yeah, all right. He looked at me like, what is wrong with that girl? But I did that. We kept walking. Now we're going upstairs. It's like the second or third floor to the suite. We're in the suite I'm talking to B and I was like, B, we just came from the inner circle, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I feel like you're going to be on that stage next year. And she was like, well, I'm like, oh, we're looking at Crystal Renee on there. I'm like, I really feel like you have a testimony that you would fit in. And I feel like the people here really know who you are. And it would be a great stage for you to be on next year. And it's in Atlanta. I'm like, nah, you'll be there. And I said, and I'm going to come in as media. She was like, stop, you're giving me goosebumps. Like, you're going to make me cry. And I'm like, no, I just know it. I don't know how I'm going to come in as media. I'm coming in as media. You're going to be on that stage. We're going to be in Atlanta next year. So we're sitting there. Tasha Cobbs comes out. We're worshiping. Live, so good. Like 10 minutes later, B is inside of the suite. I'm on the outside sitting. Ariel's right behind me. When B's like, hey, Carla, like someone gets me. She's like, come here. What? I was confused. I'm like, am I going to principal's office? Like, what did I do? What's going on? So I go back inside and it's just her and another young lady. She's like, hey, I want to introduce you to someone. And I was like, okay. Keep in mind, the suites are like ghost town. There's no one up there. If you're not part of a suite, you don't really know to go up there because there's no shops, there's no nothing. You just go into a suite and you have to have a thing to get in. So there's ladies and she's like, I want to introduce you to her. This girl, this is Bree, and she actually is the head of media for Women Evolve. Like media passes, the people that are going to come in as media, like next year. What? And I just looked at her and I was like, okay. Now keep in mind, y'all, I'm saying all of this, and my plan is to get home, do a media kit, send my emails, send my DMs, like start working once I got home on this. And probably not even yet. I was gonna wait until it got closer to it. It's not till July of next year. We're literally in October, September. Then we're still in September at the time. We got a year to go. So I'm like, wow. Well, hi, nice to meet you. So then we start talking. She tells her a little bit about me, my production company, how I still produce, all the pods. And she was like, oh my God, that's so nice to meet you. We have to exchange numbers, blah, blah, blah. And I'm looking at be like, is this really happening? She's like, yeah, this is happening. I actually have some clients. I'm a publicist as well that I would love to chat with you about. Let's exchange numbers. So we exchange numbers. I go back to sit down and I tell Ariel, it's happening. I'm going to be in media next year. And I was like, it's done. And she looks at me, she's like, yeah, it's done. You keep saying that. Like, and I'm like, no, like it's done. Like she just texted me, like it's done. I know it's done. I mean, it's not like she said to me, yeah, you're in next year. Here's your paperwork. No, but to me, I'm like, it's done. It's a done deal. I'm in there. So she's like, what? I'm like, she was just here. And she was like, what? What are you talking about? Come back inside. So we leave and go back into where B was. The girl's already gone. Now B's still in there. And now I just start bawling. And I'm bawling because there are times, like I said, during the days or just regular life that I question certain things about the Bible, about God, about Christianity. Just when we're going through certain things, when you see really horrific things happen and it's like, God, but why? But why us? But also I like asking those questions because it gives God another chance to show me and prove to me I'm real. This is me. It's the real thing. Like it, as a human, you can have these questions, but then you have to go back to your core and really see your life. And it's like, I can have that question and then also be like, okay, it's not that, it's this, right? So I am now very emotional and B's there and I'm like, it's just crazy to me because she didn't really know the girl. The girl happened to go there. Honestly, I don't know why she was at the suite. B didn't really know either. And the power of my tongue. And I did an episode before, I think it was with Dex, when I was talking about that song with Tasha Cobbs and Nicki Minaj, because it talks about like the power of your tongue and how like anything that comes out of my mouth can happen, will happen. And whether it's good or bad. So I have to be very careful. And I know that I have a gift. And this gift that I have, I don't really know. It makes me think of like Halloween Town. Do you remember I think it's a Disney movie, Halloween Town, where it's like you're a witch when you become 13 or whatever. It's just, I have this gift. And I don't know if I have cultivated the way that I need to. I don't think I've really submerged myself. And my fear is that I'm not one of those that can, quote you a bunch of Bible verses, or that I don't pray. Like when B prays, when Megan prays, and when they talk about the Bible and Jesus, they have these words that are just so profound. They feel so like, ooh, spiritual and strong. I ain't got that. I don't. It don't sound like that for me. It comes a little rough and it's a little bit more just regular, schmegular, as Cardi B would say. But there is an it thing about me, and I just don't feel qualified sometimes to speak on it. I give you guys a Bible verse at the end of every episode. I tell you about my life. I'm just good at my life, what God has done for me, what my belief is. But it just doesn't feel like that's good enough for the realm of Christianity sometimes. And that's my own thing. That's not the truth. That's not reality. That is not fact. I think that really is the devil trying to get to me and saying, don't use your voice for this at times. So I'm crying now and I'm telling her because I'm remembering back to when I saw Ariel and I'm like, you're going to make so much money. Like you're going to let go of that job. Something's going to happen. Like it's going to pop off. And it has. And, God removed those jobs and she's there. And I knew that I would help her with her pod and it is there. And we're still building that up because I'm financing it. Right. And it's fine. Like I'm going to finance it. I'm going to continue to pay for it until we can get what the time and what we want to have with that. With B, I've been like, we're going to do this with your show and we're going to do that. And we're going to close these deals. And we have done that with Megan. I've done it with my friends. I've done it like my family, with my son, like all of these things. I'm like, I leave it up to God's hands so much and things just work out. And it's really scary at times to know that you have visions and they can happen, but this also includes negative things that could happen. So that entire story, I give it because right now she just texted me for us to connect this week, but hurricane prep and just me being all over the place. I haven't hit her up yet, but I'm about to have the conversation and just know that when you have a vision, when you really strongly feel this and you are, not spending all the times in the club and getting drunk and in chaos, and you've removed the people from your life that bring more chaos and bring confusion and bring that cloudiness to your thoughts, and you can't see clearly, like you have zero clarity. When you remove all of those people from your life, things happen, things shake. You start feeling things that those visions that I'm saying. It's not like a, what's it, Raven? That's so Raven vision where it's like, and I see it. No, it's not like that. But I felt it. Now, something else that happened that I really want to talk to you guys about was a revelation that I had 2 days before Woman Evolve. What happened there was I was at home here and it was just me and Psalm. Ayana was still at work. So it must have been around, I think like 6:30-ish. And it was gloomy outside. Psalm was watching TV. I had my headphones on. I'm listening to music. I was into a podcast. I put music on and Adele came on. I'm listening to Adele, a few songs, nothing happened. Then there was a song, When We Were Young, I think is the name of the song, if I'm not mistaken. The song basically is talking about, what she wishes she could do in order to get someone to love them again. Like, I can love you. Like, let me love you. I want to love you. I could be good for you, but the person just kind of doesn't see it. So I'm going to read to you what happened when I started writing, because I started writing this journal and this happened on the, let's see, 9/24, 7 p.m. So the Tuesday at 7 p.m. We left on a Thursday. I sit down on the couch. I start getting this feeling, right, as I'm listening to the song. And this was a vision. This was a clear vision that I have. And it was me. I don't think this is a real vision at all, but let me paint you the picture. It was me sitting, I believe it was in a white chair. I was dressed in white. It was green around me, or I was in green and it was white. I can't remember. I just know it was green and white. And I'm sitting there and my son's father, my ex fiance, I could see him. And there was this pain that I was experiencing, like a literal physical pain that I was experiencing. And it was that pain of me wanting him to love me again. So what happens during a narcissistic relationship is that these people they love bomb you. They show you everything. It's like, it's a love that you've never experienced before. It's a love that it's euphoric. It's a love and attention and support that it's out of a movie. It's literally out of a movie. And then that kind of starts going away and they start asking more of you and requiring more of you. And then you're just not good enough at certain times. And then start the comparison and they start pulling away a little bit more. And then you're like, you stay there because now you're like, oh, they're broken. Oh, they've been through things. Let me fix them. I can get that love back because he still loves me. He's not saying he doesn't love me anymore. But then it gets to a point where they're completely gone. And there's nothing you can do to get them back. And you're yearning for that love and that feeling that you once felt. You're not crazy per se because you felt it, you seen it, you were there. But it's like, where did it go? How do I find it back? And I was looking at that little girl. She wasn't little, but it was a couple years back. And I couldn't have fathomed being where I am today having the peace that I have, having the financial stability that I have, having the family and the community around me that I have, having the business be where it is. She was so sad. She wanted love from that person so bad. And I wanted to tell her, Carla, it's okay. Stop going. Oh, it's going to make me emotional. Stop going after it. You're going to be fine. Let it go. Like that desperation. If you've ever been in the position like this, you're desperate for that love back. You're desperate for that attention back. You're desperate for you to see that eyes, for them to look at you the same way again. And then I immediately felt like a punch to my stomach and I felt nauseous. And it was like, you felt this feeling before. And I start thinking, and when I tell y'all, I am bawling, like eyes swollen, like I can't breathe. And I'm like, you felt this before. And I thought of my mother. And I said, ooh, I remember wanting my mom's love, going to her, telling her, like, what am I doing wrong? What can I do? Let's go to therapy, and for her to cancel therapy and all these things. For now, when I was little, I was only good enough when it was something for her, just not feeling that love from her. I never felt love from her per se. She protected us. She cooked for us. She made sure we had all our necessities. There was an emotional, like, emptiness that I had. So I'm going to read this to you. Hopefully I'll read it. This is just me typing, and there might be some errors. So I'm going to try to figure it out while I'm reading it. But I want you to understand, like, what I was feeling at the moment. So 9/24/24. It says, I'm in the living room with Psalm. It's Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. I always start my journals like that because I want to remember the setting where I am and what time it is. I'm listening to Adele and sitting on the couch with him shopping on Amazon. I start reading the lyrics of the song and my energy starts to shift, and I start thinking of the longing I had for Wax to love me the way he had shown me he could, how I yearned for him to look at me the same again, and the pain that brought me because I was so in love and there's nothing I would have done to hurt him. I was so invested in his well-being and growth. I wasn't feeling like I missed him or anything, but I was feeling so bad for that woman that yearned for that love, and it was slipping away. She had no idea it would be for the absolute best, and her life in just 2 short years later, and her life in just 2 years later will be paradise in comparison. Like, baby girl, don't hurt. You're about to be in bliss and live out all of your dreams. Ooh, that makes me emotional because it's true. And if you're in this position right now, take a break from there. If that resonated with you at all as I'm typing that, it was in the raw of the feelings, you are going to be in bliss. I promise you that you're going to live out all of your dreams. Just leave. Just leave. You know it. You feel it. Just go. Okay. So then then my thoughts go directly to my mother. In the song, all I remember is her saying, make you feel my love, while she's telling the person that she offers them a warm embrace to make them feel her love also. Quote, but I would never do you wrong. It's all like it's what I was picking up from the song. Like, I will never do you wrong. Let me offer you a warm embrace. I don't know the name of the song. And here's when I start writing about my mother. I'm like, if she only knew I would never do her wrong, how would I make sure that the last of her days here were fully enjoyed with me too? I love to travel. I want to explore restaurants. I want to go shopping. I want to go on spa days. I can finally do whatever I want and have the freedom I was only able to accomplish. I can finally do whatever I want and I have the freedom. I was only able to accomplish this with you away from me. Why can't you see that I'm here? Why can't you just come to me and take me in your arms and make me feel a mother's love? What is it about me that keeps you away? What is it about me that makes you not even want to try to be a part of my life? I know I'm not a bad person. I know I have a good heart. I know I don't hurt people intentionally. And if unintentionally I may have hurt someone, I want to apologize and fix it or do better. I know that I don't deserve this, and I deserve so much better, which is why every single one of my prayers have been answered. I had to accept that you couldn't love me the way that I deserve to be loved. I had to leave space available for all the love that I will be receiving in the way that I deserve. I hate accepting it. I hate that this is really my reality. I hate that I can ask you questions. I hate that my son can't say he ever met any of his grandparents. I hate that I robbed him of a life that I was afforded with, a family. I just wanted a healthy family of my own. I wanted my family. Lord, I don't know why today this wave of pain, literal pain, came over, but I ask you to continue to work on her heart. So one day, with pure transparency and honesty, and ask for a relationship with me that is genuine. Lord, I just want a mother while she's here, but a mentally healthy mother, a mother that understands your love for us and is open to growth. If she's able to add anything to my life, please, Lord, do so. Oh my God. If you're watching this, excuse me, I am a wreck. And it's only so emotional because it was raw in the moment. It was so raw. I was like, I have to write it. I won't be able to articulate what I'm feeling later on, once I'm feeling better. And at that time, 66 Bay was calling me, and so was Paola. Paola was at her house, had a gummy, and she was just cracking up about the fact that there was a hurricane coming and I had zero prep. Rome was just calling, and I hung up on both of them because I'm like, I don't want y'all to hear me like this. And eventually I spoke to both of them, boohoo crying and explaining to them what I had been going through that evening. This is a preface to say that God spoke to me that day. That was literally God giving me a vision, the words, and for me to finally realize the gift that I've received through Him in my life from the rejection of the people that didn't deserve me. I told you guys earlier that my company produces Megan Ashley's In Totality's podcast. At this point of my production company, I oversee operations, the money. I have very, very talented producers and editors and videographers that take care of the rest. So a lot of the content I'm not listening to on a daily or weekly basis. There's a woman by the name of Nona Jones that was a speaker, and there was like 4 women. It wasn't a panel, but they were each maybe like 15, 20-minute conversations that they had. I happened to have been downstairs because I also had strep throat right before leaving. So the Lord brought a hurricane. Satan brought a hurricane and a strep throat and family drama, but we still left. So I had to go take my antibiotics. I was feeling better, but my knee was hurting. I needed to take my ibuprofen for my throat, my knee, antibiotics, whatever. And I hear this woman speaking about the gift of rejection. And I was like, what the hell? So she's speaking about how there is just this acceptance that you have to have of letting certain people go in order for you to go where you were supposed to go. You have to let them go. They weren't supposed to come with you. And she has a book coming out called The Gift of Rejection. And I was like, wow, I know that name. I know that name. When I come to pay it, like really put 2 and 2 together, she's talking. I'm like, this was a guest on Megan's show. That particular episode I didn't listen to, but I remember speaking about it, seeing some of the clips, and like approving some of the things for that show. The episode did great. Then the next day, Nona Jones, I'm paying more attention to what she's got going on in her speech, and I'm like, there was something about that. Come to find out, her book comes out. It came out October something. A Gift of Rejection. Paola bought it for me. I got to add the house. She's like, I bought you something. It's considered my Christmas present. And she didn't want to tell me what it was. And that morning, I'm like, I'm about to buy the book. And she's like, don't do it. It's going to be at your house this morning at some point. And like, I ordered it for you. So I got the book. Then the next, that evening, I think it is, Dr. Anita Phillips comes on and she talks about a mother's wound. Mother wound. Okay. So Dr. Anita does a mother wound. And that is what she's speaking on as a speaker. When I tell you, she dragged us, honey, okay? Let me see if I can find the notes for Dr. Anita Phillips. So she talks about mother wounds, and she brings the mother wounds back to Genesis. At this point, the whole thing with Nona Jones, when she spoke, me seeing some of her content, I was like, wow, that felt like something, But okay, cool. Like I really wrote about it. I was like, my tears were flowing, but all right, God, you're speaking to me. Then Dr. Anita Phillips comes out and she talks about mother wounds. She's like, mother wounds have been around since Genesis, when God cursed the birth of women with her in idolization. So she's like, look, this is the definition of a mother's wound. She told us who coined it. I don't remember who it was. And some other woman, she goes, this goes back generations through generations of women. And she gives us a scientific, what's it called? Something with mice. What is that called? An experiment. So she gives us this experiment with mice. And she said that they had done this experiment where they get mice, they let them smell some cherry blossom smell, and then they would shock them. Cherry blossom, shock. Cherry blossom, shock. They do this to just one set of mice. These mice then have children. When the children are birthed and they bring the cherry blossom smell to the children are terrified. These children have never been shocked. Another generation of mice are born, and those children, now grandchildren of the original one, are still scared of cherry blossom. And this goes through for 14 generations. None of these have ever been shocked. They haven't seen their parents being shocked. None of it. They just know that they're scared of that cherry blossom scent. And she's basically telling us we all have mother wounds. Our mothers have all been through something, whether it's a traumatic birth, whether it is, traumatic trauma with their parents and they were hurt in their own way. But your mother has her own wounds from her mother and her mother's mother. And that has all come to you. Now, there is a point when we have to choose to do better. Absolutely. But she was like, this was already destined to be here. It's already destined to be here. And then she talks about connection, value, love. Like we need all of those. Like we need water and food, especially from our moms. So she's saying when we don't get these things that we need over time, that's when we start to deteriorate ourselves. So she talks about codependency, how we need safety from our parent, from our mother specifically. It was a whole teaching. It was a whole teaching. She got us together, but she talks about if we didn't experience safety from our mothers, if they didn't provide it, we're hyper vigilant. We just can never relax. And I'm like, well, safety wasn't there. I mean, were the doors locked? Yeah, like things like that. But just the emotional safety wasn't there. Our personalities being different. We could be wounded because our personalities crashed. Me, priority, did your mom make your priority? Was her husband, her brother, her work, her friends, anything else? Was it more of a priority than her children and her children's well-being? Privacy, did your mom give you privacy, or was she the type of mom that was like, I'm gonna open the doors whenever you're your child, you don't have your own autonomy? I mean, when you get to a certain age, a child needs a certain type of privacy. Power, there's no peaceful transition of power. You need to go from rules to relationship. That never happened with her and I. The past, their mothers bring their past to the table, and you may have been wounded by your own mother's trauma and things that she had been through. And I just kept looking at all of this and I said, I am hurt. What happened to me on Tuesday was a revelation to me that for so many years, I'm like, I'm fine. I'm better off with it. And although all that is true, I am fine. I am doing better without the pain that my mother brings to me and that anguish that she brings to me. But in order for me to be able to say, I am hurt and I surrender this pain, I surrender this pain to God, it was like, I don't know, this may sound silly to you. Maybe you don't understand it, but if you get it, you get it. It's like, I let it go and felt like I could breathe. It was like oxygen. Wow. You know how you be drinking like Dasani water, but then you try like Fiji water and it's like, oh, I can taste the difference. It feels clean. Yeah. Dasani, I'm sorry. If I need it, if there was the only thing left in the desert, I'm gonna drink the Dasani. Don't get me wrong. I'm gonna drink it. But ain't not like that Fiji water, that good spring water. Ooh, it's so good. So basically, she said for us to do 3 things, and I was like, okay, cool. She's gonna give us something to do. I love me someone that talks and tells me what to do. So she says, write down all the lies that your wounds have produced. Like you're not good enough. Like you don't deserve certain types of love. Like you don't deserve to have a certain job or career or family. Like write down all those lies that, the wounds and rejection has created for you. Then she says the most valuable information you can get from your mother is what happened to her. You can't, put boundaries with her and cut her out of your body. That's the scariest thing. Like, what's the hardest thing? I don't know really what I meant there, but this one fucked with me a little bit because I can't really go to her and ask her about my birth story. I don't know my birth story. I know I wasn't adopted or anything like that. I mean, I think I was. I don't know my birth story. I know she had me in a hospital. I know I was in Puerto Rico. I know my dad was around, but was he around long? Now as a woman, what was your birth like? I don't know. So I can't ask her that. And then she goes, we need to be of service to these people. And I said, all right, now, Dr. Anita Phillips, now you playing with me because I cannot be of service to her. I can't do that to myself. Although some people might be like, that's your mother. You can, go be with her, go speak to her, go do things for her. For my mom, that's not good for me because every time that I have these conversations, or if I'm just having surface level conversation or just, how are you, blah, 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 I leave empty. I leave feeling just not whole. It doesn't feed me. I may be feeding her, but nothing gets back to me. My cup becomes empty. So I said, well, how am I supposed to do the service part? And she talks about if your mother went through A, B, C, and D, the few things that I may know, go service them, go service a shelter, go service drug addicts and in rehabs, go service single moms through abuse, that might be in a shelter for abuse. Go serve, serve, serve. That'll fill you. And I said, oh my, I can do that. I can do that. I can go find a young woman that isn't experiencing the love from her mother and give that to her. It's only been 2 weeks, and I won't say who. Well, I have Ayana's friend here, and she has her own family circumstances. And I had the chance to be able to say, hey, you can stay with us for some time, along with her aunt and help her and give her that love. And it's like, that's where I'm best at serving, at giving someone a mother's love or seeing women that need a mother's love. That's where I am right now, finding ways to serve and give more. So I don't even know what else to go into because the weekend our edges was snatched, honey. She left us looking like that meme of James Brown when he's just coming up for air and sweaty and our hair was a mess. And it's like, we're all hugging each other. Like, I forgive my mother. I think I've forgiven her a long time ago. And it was just more this time of me knowing I'm still hurt, but I'm not going to work on ways to fill my cup. And I've been doing that. Like it's been filling me knowing that I'm able to do something for someone else and have them feel the love that I didn't feel. So with that being said, I am not a spokesperson for Women Evolve 2025 in Atlanta. I think most of the tickets are already gone, but if you can just be in that building, just being in that building. You don't have to be inner circle or snob like me. I'm just one of those that's like, I love it this way. Be in that building. It don't matter if you was at the top. I'm telling you, the way that you feel while you're there, indescribable. There's not a clip that you can watch. There's not a YouTube video. There is not a story from a podcaster like me telling you it. You need to be on that be in that building. And I'm not getting paid from this. It's just because it left me full. Now, I'll be very clear with you. When you make a decision like that, devil don't like it. And the second that you come home, you might not even get on that plane yet. And there are so many things that are going to be sent to you left and right. And Pastor Sarah talks about it because there are people in your life that aren't there with you, right? You made the choice, you're probably going alone. And there's still people at home dealing with chaos and drama and their own BS. And they're going to bring that to you. And now you're like, you didn't get to hear this. You're not filled with this love and this spirit. And it's just like, they're trying to get it out of you. And now the devil's like, you need to go off. Go off. Tell them off. Hit somebody. Do something. Go on social media. Act up. Don't. You have to carry this home. And things have happened since I got here and I came back. Things happened to Ariel right away. And we were both like, she said it. We knew it. We knew we were in a high, and this high, we can only ride it for so long before the world would try to bring us down. But we have to remember and stay steadfast on what our goals are and what my goal is for the next year. So my goal for the next year is to serve, to give more love to people, and to do everything that I do with love. Get rid of the fear that I'm not good enough. So y'all gonna start hearing me, and I'm gonna start journaling more, and I'm gonna start reading the Bible more. And I want you guys to know that it's intentional. It's intentional because I know that you are what you eat, you are what you take in. And that's who we are. That's the type of family we are. And this show will be changing coming next month. So there's a big announcement I'll be making. If you saw my social media, there's a few things that we put out there. But the change is going to be so good because what happens next? Like, what now? What now when you come home? What now when you have children? What now when you give your life to Christ and you're like, all right, I still like to have sex, or I still like to curse, or I still and I still really want to be with this guy that's no good for me. Like, you're still gonna have those temptations, Just know it's not gonna go away. You just, like Pastor JJ said, sin doesn't go away, and your love of that sin, whatever specific sin that is for you, doesn't go away, but you love Jesus more. And that's where I'm at. I love Jesus more. I love my God more. And I want to just be a better person. I don't know where that's gonna land me. Because I could be dead tomorrow, but I could live until I'm 80, 90, 100 years old. Um, and so can you. So take this episode as my testimony to you that you're gonna be okay. That if it's with a mother, that it's with a significant other, whoever it may be, your possibilities are endless. Just jump the gun. Like, you have to have some type of risk to really get some type of reward. You're always playing it safe. The rewards just aren't as great. You'll just kind of have your bills paid and live a very, I'm not gonna say mediocre, but just kind of like a very safe life. That ain't for me. I like risk. You just take a little bit of risk and you'll see where you're going. Anywho, this is supposed to be a 20-minute episode and I'm still yapping. I hope you enjoyed it. Solo episodes for me are like, a little weird because I know like Courtney's listening to me. So I'm like, do you feel weird listening to me or not? I don't know. Do you feel weird listening to me out there? Leave a review on Apple Podcasts for me, please, because I want to do more of these. But again, I get in my head. I really get in my head about doing solo episodes because it's like, are you just rambling? Do you sound silly? What are you talking about? I mean, I know what I want to talk about and I write them down, but whatever. This is me. It was an update on, Woman Evolve, Hurricane Milton. I'm here, not evacuating. I'll be back next week to let you know how that went. And yeah, have a great rest of your day, whenever it is that you're listening. And don't forget, if you want to start a podcast just like this one, I am set up with a camera at home, my computer, a microphone, and we're getting this done, through the internet. So I can help you do so. I did a launch podcast.com. Go there, and I can help you. I really can. I'm saying a lot, and I think it's because I'm nervous. I'm nervous about a lot of things. So see you next week. Goodbye.